stuff. Okay, cool. So getting into some of the reminders here. Olean push. There's 2 days left of the Olean push, and really go for it. Some of you may be sitting at 0. Some of you may be at 1,000. But wherever you're at, you really want to finish strong for our offices and for yourself. If it's an excuse to sell to make some money because it's your job, you need money, great. If you're really shooting for that 1,500 level to win a book, or 3,000 for the little cinch bag, or 5K for the piece of Cutco or the rock, really go for that. You have 2 days and many things can happen. So great job, Daniel, coming home and making some things happen this week. And I appreciate it. That's great there. And 2 days left. For those who are going to Olean, there's a couple scripts you want to know about. We're going to be handling these a lot more in Leadership Academy, and role-playing these a lot more in Leadership Academy. But what you want to know, there's 2 things we're going to be role-playing, okay? So Josh, Hunter, and Daniel, this is going to be important because the team builder script that we talk about in training, the last day of training is going to be really important to go over. We're going to be role-playing that. So basically, it's the Northwoods Team Builder Program 2020. And then here is the script along with where to pause in the video. You just want to know this first, basically those first 2 pages. You want to role-play it a few times so you really feel good and confident with it. Role-playing in front of others with that competition. And then also, there's going to be the uno momento, the interview. So this is Maz's interview. Here we go. So this is an interview. This is our video interview. This is the regular video interview. However, we added what Alex Mazurek is using. He has a 61% show. He's really good. He's in North Denver. He's one of the top newer managers who've been around for a couple years, who's really good. And he blew us all the way to SLC. His passion, his energy, his stump speech at the end of his interview, his intro, it was really good. And I feel like that's where we're missing a little bit, and why our interview shows have been down is we're kind of going through the motions, I feel, and being more of a robot as opposed to being more authentic and being real and being passionate and sharing how amazing this job is by really talking more about us and our opportunity in the company. I think we need to do a much better job of that. So this is right from Maz, and then adjusted. Lake and Josh and I went through and we adjusted this. It's literally Maz's script with our just critiques a little bit. So you want to know the whole intro, okay? So the intro right here, there's a few paragraphs, and then I'd say everybody, you want to know this. This is what we really focus on in the fall for Leadership Academy. You want to get really good at the interview. You're basically reading through this first page, and then you play the video. So it's 1 page each. So you're really confident and comfortable. Read through this and print it out for Olean if you're going to Olean, because we'll be role playing that as a competition in front of everybody. All right. Any questions on that for those Olean attendees? Good there? Okay. Sweet. All right. Other reminders would be, let me make sure I have these here. That's good. All right. Emotional intelligence. Let's go through this. Now, as a review from last week, okay, we're talking about emotional intelligence these couple weeks. Also, a little bonus is we have coming up the next couple weeks. It's being confirmed, but Carlos Shoemaker talking about some of this stuff as well. So that'll be exciting. And thank you, Josh, for confirming that. But emotional intelligence is really important, whether it's with Vector or not. And here's why. All of you saw this last week, but if you take a look, according to Talent Smart and Stats, that 90% of top performers have a high EQ. We talked about EQ being more important than your IQ. Some people in life don't have the natural IQ, and myself included. I'm really glad Vector can be learned, and based on our EQ and our work ethic and our attitude, that we can really set ourselves up for success. And you don't have to be naturally super intelligent. So we have a lot of great people who don't have the highest IQ, but more importantly, they have a high EQ. And EQ is responsible for 58% of your job performance, 58%. And looking over here to the right, it says $29,000 is the difference. People with high EQ make $29,000 more annually than their low EQ counterparts. I would even say and argue that it's even more of a jump for those in Vector. When you're a business owner or an entrepreneur and you're leading people, EQ is even more important. So just in general, with jobs, it's a $29,000 difference. So understand that, and that is why we're covering EQ here, just for a short couple weeks here. Any questions so far? I don't want to do that. I want to stick to one page. Okay. So we want to cover this. As review last week, we talked about, here's a summary of Emotional Intelligence 2.0. We talked about the 4 quadrants and how you have self-awareness, you have self-management, you have social awareness, and you have relationship management. So we're going to go through the last 3. We did a big setup last week and we went through just self-awareness. I'm going to try and get through these last 3 and see how we can get better at this. And then after each quadrant, I'd like to talk about how you guys can improve that section because it's very important to know yourself and that way you know how to work with people. So we talked about self-awareness strategies, okay? That's quadrant 1 up here. And then you move to social awareness or self-management. So let's go down here to the second quadrant, which is self-management strategies. Okay, so there's some really simple things I'm going to share with you guys, but some of this, it's going to be so important that you know how to do this because it's going to make you that much better for your people and yourself. Because when you're a manager or a leader or an entrepreneur, there's many situations you get in that you may feel like acting a certain way, but you have to self-regulate yourself to make sure you're not doing anything stupid. Okay, self-management strategies. Breathe right. So shallow breaths deprive your brain of oxygen. This leads to poor concentration, forgetfulness, mood swings, anxiety, lack of energy. Breathe slowly and deeply, right? Anytime you're nervous or feel angry, breathe deep, breathe slow. And also you can chug a lot of water as well to get hydrated. That's real important. Second way to self-manage and have some strategies there is create an emotion versus reason list. So a lot of times we act on emotion as opposed to being logical with reason, which is why we've taught you when you come to a tough decision, right? Whether it's in a relationship, whether it's running an office, whether it's what subject to study, anything like that, you make a pros and a cons list. When you break it down, you realize, whoa, I was emotionally tied to these 1 or 2 things on this side, but look at all these logical reasons why I should make this decision on this side. So this is another great option is what are your emotions telling you to do? What your reason is telling you to do. Right? And sometimes we just have to get past the emotions and those heightened emotions to make a better logical choice. Okay? You know, a lot of times our emotions cloud our judgment. Make your goals public. I did that recently with this improv thing. Told people I was going to do it, and I had to do it. So share your goals with someone and ask this person to hold you accountable. That's why I would do a lot of group accountability. That's when your offices, key staff is so important because you're publicly declaring your goals for the week and what you want to accomplish. And you guys know on this call, you have to publicly say what you want, or like what progress you made. So that's important. Count to 10. When you feel yourself becoming frustrated or angry, count to 10 with a slow breath between each number. The focus on counting will engage your rational brain. So that's great, just counting to 10. Another little bonus tip is I've been listening to the 5-second rule. Have any of you guys heard of the 5-second rule? By Mel Robbins. It's a really good audiobook. She talks about how, you know, when you count, it logically, it helps you think logically to either slow down or take action on something. She talked about when you're stuck in bed, debating waking up or hitting snooze again, just count down. It's like a rocket ship where countdown of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Anytime we debate doing something or not, so this kind of relates, but it's a bonus tip because it's talking about counting. So if you debate asking that attractive person out, or you debate talking to your professor about a grade, or you debate raising your hand in class, which Daniel always does, you know, you do that, a lot of times all it is 5 seconds. Your mind will always go to what's easiest and what is, an easy way out and not uncomfortable. And so if you just count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and jump out of bed, or you're going to, you know, go talk to someone, you know, just counting down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and taking action allows you to kind of set up for it and go for it. So there's that little bonus tip. Sleep on it. A lot of times we think emotionally. So when you have time to think about it, you think more logically and have a chance to make a better decision. Talk to a skilled self-manager. So that's where you talk to your loved ones or your managers. Smile and laugh more. Your brain responds to the nerves and muscles in your face to determine your emotional state. Read or watch something that you find funny. Tip, hold a pencil between your teeth to activate the muscles used in smiling. There you go. So sometimes you're feeling frustrated or, not ready to make a good decision. You smile and laugh more. That always helps. All right, set aside time for problem solving. Put in your schedule. That's where journaling comes into play. Take control of your self-talk. Oh, this is where we brainwash you in Vector to think more positively. But there's a strong relationship between what you think and how you feel, both physically and emotionally. Learn how to control your self-talk. Replace I always or I never with just this time or sometimes. Instead of, I never get things right. Well, sometimes I mess things up, right? It's a different connotation and it's a different way of thinking about it. Instead of I'm an idiot, I made a mistake. Instead of it's my fault, we each are responsible, or it's all their fault. You guys can read that. 10, visualize yourself succeeding. We do this already in Vector Pushes. Josh just talked about his cross-country team going to the Camp Onaway and doing this big visualization / dreams workshop of the team and getting rid of some of that self-doubt and seeing themselves succeed and doing that. He talked about doing that in his office. I said, great, it's your office. We have the franchise. We have the way to run an office, but each of you can run it your own way that still gets results and follows a program. But hey, if you want to do that and you want to do running club and you want to do all this stuff that you felt really helped in Boy Scouts or in, cross country, whatever works is great. Clean up your sleep hygiene. Oh, this is big. I could go on for days about this. I read a book called Sleep Smarter by Sean Stevenson, really good. And this is where a lot of students struggle, is your sleep habits. So clean up your sleep hygiene. Here's a few tips. Turn off devices with screens 2 hours before bedtime, right? Many of us are in bed like right before bed. We're like this scrolling. And no wonder we're having trouble falling asleep. Block blue waves with special glasses or blue wave blocker app. A lot of times there's a nighttime app or there's Flux app on your computer. Avoid working or watching television in bed, because if you trick your mind to know your bed is a sacred sleep place of rest, you're going to naturally, your body's going to go, okay, I'm used to this spot. I'm used to going to bed in this situation, so I'm getting ready for bed. Where if you're always working from bed or watching television in your bed, your body's not going to know, okay, am I going to work on something? Am I going to sit here and watch TV for 3 hours? Am I going to go to bed? What's happening? Then avoid caffeine afternoon, because that does affect you. And then focus your attention on your freedoms. Okay, take accountability for what is within your area of responsibility rather than focusing on what you can't control. So it's really good to think about what you can control versus what you can't control. Hey, babe.
Hey, sorry.
Hey, what's up?
Okay.
There's my pretty pregnant lady.
Oh,
What's
yeah.
up?
You see that? Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Here's the bump. Okay. The bump. All right. And then that's okay. And then stay synchronized. When your emotions get the best of you, force your attention away from your emotions and on the task at hand. Right? So then you're thinking more logically as opposed to getting really angry or sad or disappointed. And then 14, the last one, or not last one, there's a few more here, is speak to someone not emotionally invested. Right? If you talk to a friend in the same group of the group project about somebody, they're going to have a different feel and they're going to be more biased, I'd say, for the situation, where it's good for someone who's not affected by the situation to give logic, because they don't really care what happens. Okay. 15, learn from everyone you encounter. You're caught off guard and on the defensive, use it as an opportunity to learn something. Learn from either the other person's feedback or their behavior. Put a mental recharge into your schedule, right? Schedule time for exercise. There you go. All of you, sounds like. Schedule time for physical activity releases chemicals in your brain to improve your mood, keep you alert, and help you be more effective in planning, organizing, making decisions, right? Josh knows I harp on you every day, man, to go out and go for a run and exercise. And what did you do? What did you do today? That's just part of who I am. That's also part of what you guys are going to feel for me in our organization in the Northwoods is how often are you exercising, for how long. There's no judgment, but I just know we're going to be better for ourselves and for our people and our friends and significant others if we are happy and we are energized because we are exercising daily. I promise it'll help. And to add on to that, Kensington, what's funny is with all of you, you said you had midterms, so you stopped exercising. It's so funny how like with vector managers, they stop eating healthy and working out and doing proper sleep in the summer. Or like when you have midterms, you stop exercising and doing all these things are important to you. But that's when you most need it is in the summer for a vector manager or during midterms as a student. So, we sometimes take extra time to study or to really just stress and worry about stuff as opposed to keeping time for what makes us our best. And number 17, accept that change is just around the corner. At least every 2 weeks, think about important things that might happen. Make a list of actions you will take to change when change occurs. Make lists of things you could do now to prepare for possible change. Okay? So what are some of those phrases? The only people without problems are 6 feet under, right in the grave, or like just get used to change. It's inevitable, especially when you're an entrepreneur and a leader. Things will constantly be changing and evolving. Okay, so what was your biggest action step? So from self-management strategies, looking at all of these again, breathe right, create an emotion list, make your goals public, count to 10. Set aside time for problem solving, take control of your self-talk, visualize yourself succeeding, clean up your sleep hygiene, focus your attention on your freedoms, stay synchronized, sleep on it, talk to a skilled self-manager, smile and laugh more, speak to someone not emotionally invested, accept that change is just around the corner, learn from everyone you encounter and put events to recharge your schedule. What are a couple self-regulation, self-management strategies you can implement that you think will make you better, that you feel you don't do or you can really improve upon? Go ahead.
It's interesting that that visualization is on there. If you scroll up a little bit, Jason, I think it was number 12 or 10. Yeah, number 10. Yeah, it's kind of interesting that's on there because one of the things that I do, it's kind of in my routine is like to help me fall asleep. There's this really cool instrumental song that I absolutely love, and I listen to it. I put my earbuds in, and right before I go to sleep, I listen to that song. It's like a 7.5-minute song. And during that 7.5 minutes, like I remember that song because that's one of the songs I used to listen to when I was visualizing for cross country. So that was like, I would start to get all these, every night I start to get all these crazy ideas of like what I want my office to be looking like. And then it's interesting because as I'm thinking about that, that's the last thing I'm thinking about before I'm like basically passed out. Then like I fall asleep and I find like in that morning, like I just have like my brain is just racked with like all these crazy ideas that I've been, and like oftentimes I'll have like interesting dreams about like running my office, which is it's kind of funny, but like subconsciously, I'm already visualizing. It's just part of my routine, and I'm like getting all these really cool, crazy ideas. And it's just, when you give, I don't remember where I heard it, but when you give your brain, or when you give yourself a problem, or you ask your brain a question, it just starts thinking, it goes to work basically. So yeah, visualization is definitely one of my favorite things to do because like you're like a kid, you're just like a kid with a unlimited imagination, like anything that you think of, it's just crazy. Yeah. So I love visualization. It's something that I strongly suggest you guys should check out.
So that's one you're really good at. What about what's one you're going to implement, or one that you think that would really help you?
So yeah, it's kind of ironic because, I listen to that song right before I go to sleep. I also need to clean up my sleep hygiene because I do have little Samsung plug for all you Apple people. There's automatically, when you get a Samsung device, you can tell like there's a blue light filter that you can have turned on your phone. But I still use my phone like right before I'm going to sleep, and that's something that I really need to. I know that it's not good for me, but I just really, it's tough to break that habit. So that's something I really need to clean up is my sleep hygiene, and just avoid using it before sleep. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, so 10 is something that I like to do. And then 11 is something I need to practice more.
Okay. Love it. All right. I'd like to go next. Feel free to brag about one of these two that you feel you're really good at, but what's at least one implementation you can make to be better at self-managing your EQ? Scroll up here too.
I guess I can share here.
Sure.
Yeah, so something that I probably need to work on a lot is cleaning up my sleep hygiene. But then again, taking control of my self-talk is something that I need to work on, especially lately with the weather changing and whatnot. So, yeah, it's something that I'll probably end up working on in the long run here.
Yeah. So Isaiah, I am going to abuse your mind as as we work with you more, especially in this next year. I'm gonna beat up that self-talk for you. I'm gonna try to help you with that. By the way, we all have that. We all have that self-doubt, and that's even what Mel Robbins talked about in her first 2 chapters of the 5-second rule as well so far. But yeah, we all are insecure at times. We all have doubts, and we all lose confidence at times. So that's so huge to stop that and know when it's happening, and maybe have a friend you call up or a manager you call up. Make sure you're not self-sabotaging up here, because that's gonna kill you. And might as well learn it now, and we'll pay you in Vector for it, because it's gonna go stay with you the rest of your life unless you figure it out. So that's great to realize that, Isaiah. That's great. I think all of you being students, sleep hygiene is huge. The other thing is not just the blue light, that dopamine hit that we get, and Daniel can explain this in much better way if you guys want to know more. But the way the chemicals work and the dopamine hit and everything we get from looking and scrolling, the blue light is just part of it. What I feel is even a bigger tragedy is the 1 to 2 hours we sit on our phone when we should go to bed. And what you tell me or tell your parents or tell yourself is, yeah, I went to bed at 11, but you don't actually go to sleep till like 1 or midnight, because you're just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. And then you wake up tired because of the blue light. And then also because you spent 2 extra hours scrolling instead of sleeping. So I've been a little public declaration here. There's an October challenge my wife and I are doing, is no cell phones allowed available in the house. And like, it's got to be on the counter or in the bathroom. We can't have it like out while we're together in the living room, or we can't have our phone out at night, because we want to spend more time together as opposed to on our phone. It's so easy. And this is also why divorce rates are pretty high. People being disconnected and not growing together. It's so easy, even in relationships, to be with someone you love and go to your phone to check something. And all of a sudden you scroll for 20 minutes and you have your best friend or your love or your significant other right next to you, right? So anyway, little rant, little bonus tip. Daniel or Kensington?
I can go. I would probably need to get better at the make your goals public.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to just keep them inside, and then at the time they don't get done. So that's one thing I need to work on for sure.
Okay. Great. Way to be aware of that. We do that a lot in Vector. So as assistants and as managers, just so you guys know, in like our division meetings next year and our workshops and conference calls, I'm going to definitely ask that our leaders step up and say something and make their goals public. And it's that social accountability that in the time, like what happens, Kensington, is I'm assuming what happens is when you don't say your goals, no one's holding you accountable. Therefore, you don't have to be serious about it. You're like, oh, that's nice if I worked out every day. That's nice if I got an A. That's nice if I sold 1,000 a week. But if you don't declare it, there's no way to fail, right? So I think that's great. That's great, and we'll do a lot of that over January and this summer as well. Do you feel like is there one that you feel you're doing pretty well at?
I don't know.
Okay, that's all right. That's all right. All right, Daniel, what are your thoughts? You're on mute.
I would say obviously for sure for me, it's sleep hygiene again.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like a common trend, but I feel like, especially people our age, that's it's something that holds us back a lot, is a lot of distractions, making the wrong choices. So I think one thing that I'm going to do with that is like implementing more like reminders throughout the week of like things that I should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
So
can you give an example like of just like your habits, or is it like, I guess, what do you mean by reminders throughout the week? Like what do you mean by that?
Yeah, just like kind of like what I said earlier, just speaking with people. I don't know, just little things that I just had a lot of people that, what?
Like a to-do list?
Kind of. Just like people too. I've had a lot of people like reach out and just make sure you're doing the right thing and stuff like that.
Good.
So
That's great. And those reminders, again, tricking yourself. I do it too as well. Like for me, I have literally my calendar every single day. It says pray more, fear less. That's just a common thing. I don't need to like, it's not a to-do list that I like, oh, did it. But it's a great reminder. But then also, your Google Calendar really helps because you can schedule things in your calendar. But then if it's like a daily reminder to do, there's some things I have, like you may look at my Google Calendar and go, holy crap, look at all that stuff. But it's a way for me to check it off and take it off a to-do list and constantly like be aware of what I need to do. And if it's something that's self-management or self-regulation, that's great as well. So I think that's awesome, Daniel. And a lot of times we know what to do. Even Mel Robbins, again, I keep referencing this because it's fresh in my mind, but she talked about we all know what to do. We all know what we should be doing. But because of EQ or the lack thereof, we don't self-manage as well as we should. And therefore, we can self-manage ourselves. How are we supposed to manage other people as effectively? And that's why I love Vector and I love what I do. So I'm always growing and trying to be a better leader for the people who I lead, and you'll be able to lead a lot of people also. And the better you are, you're not only doing it for yourself, do it for everyone else around you, which includes your social network and your family and those people close to you, not just your reps. Okay. Any questions before we move on to social awareness? Okay. Social awareness. All right. Here's some tips, some strategies. Greet people by name. The most powerful word and the favorite word heard by everyone is their own name. People like the acknowledgement of hearing you say their names. And we teach you that in the Vector office. If you don't know someone's name, right? Like not, hey, Daniel, have you met Susie? And Daniel's like, no, actually I haven't. She's like, oh yeah, you interviewed me. Being able to say, hey, Susie, have you met Daniel? That way they both hear each other's names. You let Susie answer for you to know the situation. I saw a post recently on social media that says, hey, if I'm around you and I don't introduce you to the person I'm talking to, it means I forgot their name. Please help me and introduce yourself. Or go, hey, I'm Jason. How are you? Oh, got it. It's Daniel. Great. Yeah, Daniel, this is Josh. So being able to introduce people by name, and if you forget, having those strategies, having those buddies with you in the office who can help you with that. Watch body language. Does a person make good eye contact? Do they smile? Do they appear nice? Do they appear relaxed or tense or fidgety? So being aware of body language. Excuse me. Make timing everything. Avoid asking a person for something when you can tell they're angry and under a lot of stress. This is great for relationships, right? Making sure you're asking at the right time. Develop a back pocket question. Have a question to ask in case a conversation lags. Avoid questions that are potentially sensitive topics. We understand that in Vector, but some of you still are awkward when you're talking to people in training or on campus or in an interview. So having those general questions, people love movies. So asking about movies. People love trips. People love hobbies. People love pets. You have a whole conversation about pets, right? Sports are okay, but not everyone can really get involved in that typically. Weather is just lame. Sports, religion are controversial. So have those back pocket questions, which by the way, in the back of our manual, there's like 100 questions to ask, which are great. So those are great. Don't take notes at all meetings. In a meeting where people interact, avoid taking extensive notes. Instead, focus on watching people's body language. This is great for managers, right? To see what your team is doing and see how people are responding. Plan ahead for social gatherings. on an index card, list who will be at the event along with any talking points you want to use. Also list anything you agreed to bring so you don't forget. So before every event, guys, you should have intentions. You should know who's going to be there and be aware, so that way you can have more logical conversations. That's what I love about some of the vector events, like this Olean trip. And if you're not going, that's okay. Get invited next year. But being able to know who's going to be there, who can I speak with, who can I rekindle a relationship with, who can I ask a question to, right? Like this is a few days. In a few days will be a year anniversary of Daniel having a very impactful conversation with Darren Burns about management in a casino. That was kind of cool, right? So, you don't know who's going to have an impactful conversation necessarily, but if you plan for it, that helps. Clear the clutter in your head. When a person is speaking, focus on listening to that person instead of letting your mind wander on other things. Make it a point to try to learn something from listening to the person, right? Every talk, every situation, it's great. Live in the moment. When you're around other people, be as present as possible. This is what I'm learning a lot in the improv coaching, is that just kind of releasing control and really listening to the person and feeding off of them, and really like not trying to have a preconceived idea of what you're going to say. It's good to have intentions, right, of what you want to ask, but you don't want to be thinking about what you're going to say while they're speaking, because you don't fully, and you guys know this, right? But then you're not fully listening and you can't fully respond in the way you want to because you've already kind of preconceived what you're going to say. Go on a 15-minute tour. Walk around, noticing people's workspaces, how people move around the area. Try to pick up on people's feelings and how to affect others' feelings and your feelings. This is huge during phone jams. We do that during phone jams. Okay? During role playing and training, during team meetings, go around, feel it out, regulate. So go on a 15-minute tour. Watch EQ at the movies. This is interesting. Watch some movies with the objective of watching the character interactions and conflicts. Notice how the characters handle the conflict. Challenge yourself to pick up on clues that conflict may be building. My improv coach, he even said he goes to shows and just looks at the audience and really looks at and picks up on the audience and understands how a show is going sometimes just by, the interaction, the crowd. You could do that at church as well. You could just observe, be aware of your surroundings and what's happening in this situation and around you. Practice the art of listening. Listening requires focus. It's far more than hearing the words. Listen to the tone, speed, and volume of the voice and how those fluctuate. Are those sending a message beyond what the words say? You won't know unless you focus fully on the person. This is why it's important to get the interview down and the PR name collection down, because then you have a really confident way of saying it. It's more about how you're saying it versus what you're saying. 12, go people watching. That's fun. We do that all the time. Go to the mall. Notice body language. Understand the rules of culture. When interacting with those of a different culture, observing their body language and manner and speaking, it's good to interact with that. There's a lot of that probably in your campuses. Test for accuracy. This is great for listening. Now, it looks like you're feeling down about this. Did something happen? Or what you're trying to say is this. Or, hey, notice you came in a little upset today. Can you tell me more about that? Right? Just reflecting what you think they're feeling. Step into their shoes. Right? Have empathy for them. Be aware of their situation. Ask yourself, if I were this person, how would I feel or react or respond? Think about how the person has reacted in similar situations, right? This goes along with the closing, the objection cycle. Mrs. Jones, I completely understand how you feel. I'd feel the same way too. If I were in your shoes, not expecting to spend $1,000 on knives. See the whole picture. Seeking feedback gives you a chance to see how others may view your behavior. What you intend as helpful responses and behaviors may appear unhelpful to the other people. Basically, it's good to get that 360 feedback, get feedback from others, and catch the mood of the room. When you enter a room, scan for energy, see, and as a manager, you constantly have to be that thermostat. Constantly. You have to be the thermostat in the situation. You have to change the feel of the room, especially if you have some people that are low sales week, or if you had, just some bad phoning times, some bad situations. It's great to understand how to catch the mood of the room, and then how to adjust. Okay, so with timing, we're not going to get to relationship management. We'll have to do that next next week. Look at that. That's going to be great too. So there's a lot of things on here. So hopefully you guys are paying attention during that. And what was with social awareness strategies? What were one or two big either takeaways or something you want to work on when it comes to social awareness?
Yeah, one of the things that I noticed, especially after you mentioned that, develop a back pocket question. That I was, here's a great example. On campus today, I was talking to an applicant, and my mind was like going through a brain fart, and I was just, I don't know. I still got her to apply, which is great, but
Yeah, you did.
my mind was just drawing a complete blank on the script, on what to say. And, that's okay. It happens sometimes, like if you're running an interview. But what's so great is Jason stepped in, and he I forget what the question you asked was, but it was just such a good question. It just completely shifted the feel of the conversation. It went from the applicant kind of looking confused and like, wait, what are you talking about? I completely lost you, to, oh, hi, we're people interacting again. So I think that was great. Jason's really good at that, and that's something I think I'd like to get better at, just in case like I'm in those situations, because if it's training or interviews. And then
Josh got nervous around a cute girl.
Sure, yeah, you got me. Anyway, but no, one of the other things too, I think so that's one thing I noticed. One thing I want to one thing that I also want to implement more is being aware of surroundings or people watching. I think the idea of that is kind of interesting, especially like going to so many campuses. You see, like if you just stand there and just observe people, it's very interesting how people interact with each other. And there's some days when like literally everybody just seems like zombies on their phone, and it's terrible. It's like, hey, how do you break those awkward awkward moments where people are just all zombies, but it's just interesting to just kind of observe and just be aware of what's going on around you. So yeah, those are two things that kind of stood out to me.
Great. Thanks, Josh. Let's go in the same order. Isaiah.
All right. So one thing I could probably work on is living in the moment. Need to be a little bit more present around people. Not that I'm on my phone, but just I let my mind wander a lot and go to different scenarios and think of all these different questions. I just get off of topics. So just living in the moment, really.
Yeah, that's huge. That's great. Yeah, live life, guys. We're living this awesome life. We didn't live, like, we're not here just to be zombies, right? And like, look at everyone else's lives, fake lives in social media. Right? Live in the moment, enjoy it, do fun things, and let Vector be your vehicle to live an abundant life. Cool. I forgot who went next. I think Kensington?
Yes. Hold on. Can you scroll up a smidge?
Yep.
I forgot the name of it. I think it's the clear away the clutter in your head.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes like I try to listen, even like in class, and then my mind just like wanders and gets bored. So yeah, I really have to work on making that better.
Okay. That's great. So continue to work on that. Daniel?
Yeah, I really like the watch body language. I think about that a lot when I'm interacting with people lately, just how I want to present myself as a DM. Also, I learn a lot in my classes that like your physiology can affect your emotion a lot. So, standing the way that you should can increase like your testosterone and your confidence, like biologically. So I want to do that too.
Okay. Love it. Well, guys, I appreciate your attention here. There's a lot to learn, and we're going to extend this into next week as well. With next week's call, we're going to finish up with relationship management, which will be great, and some final takeaways and reminders as well. And then and follow up with that and get Carlos on a call here soon. Couple reminders is we have this Wednesday our virtual team meeting that Lake and Josh are going to be leading. I'm heading off to Olean early. We have a division manager meeting a day early. If you are going to Olean, be ready. Look sharp. Be ready to get your haircut, get your suits ready. Bring some snacks. Be ready to a couple days of travel. Thursday is a travel day. Friday is, and by the way, there's going to be pizza on the bus. Read your emails, okay? if there's time, you guys can maybe head out to Niagara Falls to do something cool. And then on Fridays, the tour, the factory tour, and then dinner at the old library. And then Saturday is the January kickoff conference, and prepping for January and getting the ball rolling for that. That's going to be huge. All of you are going to be able to be a huge help with that. And they'll announce who the trip is, which is exciting. I don't even know. They kind of announced it there for everyone. And then Sunday's a travel day as well, and heading back. So be ready to learn a lot and have some fun there. We'll be doing some social media over there also. But this Wednesday is the team meeting. And then also, if you don't have a withholdings account set up yet, an assignment is to make sure you set up your withholdings account and then your Smith Barney account, which is automatic savings. So set that up. Of course, we won't have calls this week because I'll be in Olean. But next week when we chat, I'd like to talk about, what kind of withholdings do you have set up? You want to save just for your startup to open up your own office eventually and give yourself an opportunity to make that choice. And you also want to save up for taxes and just, savings. So that's big. And then in closing, I'll say, if you guys can see the socks here, go Pack Go. Let's rock the Lions. Let's go tonight. So I appreciate your guys' time. Thanks for being on the live call. I really do appreciate it because I love the interaction. I love coaching you guys, and it's just so much more impactful than being on the recording. So let's get them this week. Have a great week, and then we'll talk to you guys next Monday. See ya.
See ya.
Bye.
What's up?
What's up?